If you are a big fan of my channel and you would like to see me review something in particular, my Patreon has a $50 tier. And for the $50 tier, once a quarter, you can get me to review a film of your choice. And that's what we are doing today because my wonderful patron has asked me to review The Conjuring 2. And I've already reviewed The Conjuring. I did that one back around Halloween. And I decided to get this one out, even though it's once every 3 months and Halloween that was only 2 months ago. But the Conjuring movies are leaving Max at the end of the year, so it was okay to skip ahead here. So we're going to go ahead and review The Conjuring 2. I just watched it actually about 5 hours ago, so I am fresh. My issue with the Conjuring films, now that I have seen 3 of them, I have seen The Conjuring, The Conjuring 2, and The Nun 2. And I'm just getting this recurring issue. My recurring issue with these films is how much they're feeling to me like Catholic Church propaganda. Because at no point is the Catholic Church itself ever portrayed in a negative light. And Ed and Lorraine Warren, who in real life were pretty horrible scam artists. Again, I do not believe in the supernatural. I am heavily skeptical of such claims, and Ed and Lorraine Warren have made a living off of selling people those claims. That all being said, I have to take issue with the way that these films in particular seem to be laundering the reputation of the Catholic Church. Demon possession movies in general, probably just because of The Exorcist, have long been the purview of Catholicism, where they all just kind of take Catholicism as a given. They assume that it is the true faith, which seems to have just impacted just the way that religion is portrayed in American cinema just in general, which is weird because most Americans, the largest religious denomination in America, it's not Catholicism, it's evangelical Christianity. But when you see religion portrayed in mainstream Hollywood works, it's almost always Catholicism. When you see evangelical Christianity portrayed, it's usually in one of those Christian media companies like Angel Studios. All of the mainstream stuff still seems to be Catholic, which seems a little weird to me, but I would probably say The Exorcist has a lot to do with that. But that being said, the Conjuring films seem especially Catholic. And that's my rant on there. Okay, I did not know going into this film that the villain, the demon in this film, was the nun. And at first, I assumed because it opens up with brief reference to the Amityville horror. They weren't obviously, the Amityville horror. There have been so many movies made about the incident in Amityville. They probably were let's pick something else from Ed and Lorraine Warren's retinue. So it's only just briefly referenced. But because they decided to have the nun demon be the one responsible for Amityville, I assumed, oh, okay, this is just like how Annabelle showed up at the beginning of the first Conjuring. They're just setting up their villain to be spun off into another thing while they go off and tackle the real threat. But no, it turns out the nun is also just the villain that's harassing the main family that has to deal with a haunted house in this movie too. So it's not just the nun is being set up for another film. The nun is the villain in this one and then gets 2 spin-offs. But also, it bugs me because, I know that the Nun films are set prior to the events of this, because I saw the Nun 2, and that was set in, the 60s, and this movie set in the late 70s. So, obviously, in the Nun movies, they can't defeat this demon forever. But, in those movies, they needed, the blood of Christ to defeat the nun, and in this movie, all they needed was to know the nun's name, the name of the demon that poses as the nun. And that seemed, I don't know, it's if the movie in which the demon is supposedly defeated for the last time is just, oh, I know your name, it's I'm pretty sure they said the demon's name in The Nun 2. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I remember them saying the demon's name. One thing the Conjuring movies do well, I would say, is setting the scene. This movie structurally is incredibly similar to the first Conjuring because you've got your Ed and Lorraine Warren and dealing with how hard it is on them to constantly be hunting demons, the psychological toll it takes on them. But then meanwhile, you cut over to the house that's haunted with the family that has to deal with it. And the movie does a lot of really good exposition, getting you up to speed on who the family are and, you know, what their day-to-day is. And they're, you know, happy family. They've got their struggles. They're poor and stuff like that, but they're mostly, you know, a nice little family. And then all of a sudden, all of the poltergeist stuff happens. And that's one thing. Now, I know that this movie is based on a quote-unquote real event that was like an actual like poltergeist event. And again, you know, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe any of this stuff. So at least in this case, it was a reported poltergeist. But these movies seem to be so over-reliant on just random things moving to rely on the scares. And also, this movie is doing a lot more jump scares than the first one did. I wish they would give that a break. I don't like movies that are primarily based on, ooh, something's lurking in the corner. Oh, it's gonna jump out at you and make a loud noise. There, you're scared now. Oh, people are just hanging out. Oh, the camera is moving slowly over to another corner. We're gonna see something move. Oh, it moved. There is like a lot of, I can appreciate the technical work that went into some of these shots. I thought the cinematography for this movie was actually pretty phenomenal. I'm just tired of the cliche. I'm just tired of the trope. I like horror that is more psychological in nature, less, whoa, there's a spooky, scary thing over there that's coming to eat you. I like the existential dread. I like the growing tension. Like, my favorite horror movies, I know I'm gonna sound unoriginal, but like Hereditary, Get Out, those are phenomenal films, phenomenal horror films, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for in a horror film. This feels like the Catholic Avengers. This feels like they are making a movie to set up another demon that they can spin off into its own franchise, that eventually the Ed and Lorraine Warren can go and team up with somebody else in a future Conjuring verse movie, you know? Everything in this film feels like it's being played so safe for a mass market audience. What was the rating on this one? Was this one R or was this PG-13? Oh, it's rated R. Okay. That actually genuinely surprises me. I thought this one could have easily been a PG-13. Yeah, my general vibe on this movie is it's a remake of the first movie. I think the demon is a little bit more memorable in this one than in the first movie because it's the nun who gets her own spin-off series. And like, sure, she looks creepy. The actress that they cast to play the nun demon, I like looked up a picture of her just without the makeup, and like she still looks like a very creepy old lady. So like they found somebody who has a good look to play a demon. So maybe there's that to it, is just like a more memorable demon. Like I honestly could not tell you what the deal was with the demon that was in the first Conjuring movie, because all of the hauntings that were going around in the house, it felt like I was watching the first season of American Horror Story, The Murder House, where it was just, this house is just full of ghosts of people who have died from all sorts of ways, but like it was still supposed to just be the one demon who was manifesting as all of these different dead people. It was, yeah. This one, at least, it was, you know, the nun. And then I guess it's not clear if the Crooked Man. It wasn't clear if the Crooked Man was a separate demon or just the nun taking a different form. I did like the appearance of the Crooked Man. They got that actor who has the super elongated limbs. Like, I think he played Mama in the movie Mama, and he's played a bunch of like movie monsters that are long and spindly because he's you know, got that kind of a body to play it. So like I think the execution of what the monsters looked like was a step above in this one from the previous movie. There was still too many jump scares, and ultimately I keep having to go back to how much this feels like Catholic propaganda. Because this was a real case, the movie, you know, has like real people who were involved in the investigation of it, and it makes the skeptics all like rude, sinister people who were just, you know, like, oh, you're lying about everything, and I'm going to say it in a way that makes me look like a bad person. Like the movie is very like not subtle about the ways in which it does not like skeptics, in which it just is just taking as a given that Catholicism is correct. And I can't get over that. It really does feel like propaganda. Anyway, that's my review of The Conjuring 2. If you would like to see me review a specific movie, there is a link in the description of the video to my Patreon. I would accept your patronage at any level, but if you want to force me to review something of your choice, either a movie or a TV show up to like one season of a TV show up to like 12 episodes or something like that. If you want to force me to watch one of those a month, or not one a month, sorry, one a quarter, that's the $50 tier. This was a patron request review, and I have reviewed it. Suffer, says Psydeathful. Yeah, I know. Listen, because it is a mainstream movie, it's not like it's, the worst thing. It's mostly just kind of lowest common denominator meh. There's a lot of technical skill that goes into making these movies, so they are mass market entertaining. I'm just looking for a little something more in my horror. I like artistry in my horror, and technical artistry in here, sure. Writing, plot, execution, not so much. Montana Schmidt-Hauer says, what about the first 100 chapters of One Piece? If binged, it takes 2.5 to 5 hours. No, I'm actually going to veto One Piece. I will not be doing One Piece. We will not be doing One Piece ever. If you pay me $1 million, I will do One Piece. Well, how about that? Yeah, if you pay me $1 million, I will review One Piece. In fact, if you pay me $1 million, I will review all of One Piece. Every episode of the anime and all of the manga. Sure, I'll do it all. For $1 million, I'll do it all. Anything less than that, I'm not touching it. Gayfish, would you do JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? How long is that? Now, I should point out, for people asking me, I don't tend to like anime that much. And I am cognizant of the reasons for that bias. It's mostly because my brother growing up was a huge weeb, and it always manifested in socially awkward and inappropriate ways. Like, he tried to get my grandma to watch a video series called AMV Hell, Anime Music Video Hell, which was basically the YouTube poop version of anime music videos, full of references to shows that if you've never seen those shows, you won't get. So he has to explain every single reference, and he had shown them to me and he had explained them to me, and so I'm like, okay, I get what's going on here. But he's showing it to my grandma, who doesn't even know what an anime is, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Dragonite Dragonborn says, oh boy, Gayfish is going to tempt his fans. Hey, you know what? If you give me money, if you want to torture me for $50 a month to watch some anime, hey, I'm your puppet. But yeah, that was it for this one. Hey, thanks for watching. Your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. I stream Mondays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific and Sundays at 2 p.m., so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons, with a very special shout out to my Whale Shark tier patron Ryan D and my Anemone friend tier patron Pixel Cakes. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.